Bonfires burning bright, pulsating in the night. I remember on Halloween, dead cats hanging from poles, little children dead and gross. I remember on Halloween, you know, on one of the older shows, I don't remember which show it was, but there was I was talking about how I want a cover of Halloween, but like I want it to be like a Gregorian chant, like bonfires burning bright, and it's like an echoey chorus of like deep Gregorian chant, like oh, oh, and then there's like an echoey, deep, bassy voice, bonfires burning bright, and then eventually, like you keep going, and it's like you get to the chorus, Halloween, and then eventually, just like in Cry Little Sister, from the Lost One, Cry Little Sister, thou shalt. So I want like the children's chorus where they're going, Halloween. So you got like the low, Halloween, Halloween. Like that's how I would produce a cover of Halloween if I had the ability. I'm kind of groggy right now. I don't know. I ate. We had a big dinner tonight, and I ate a lot of challah bread, and I'm feeling a little tired. So, excuse me if I'm tired. I was looking forward to this review very much. The hype around Halloween Ends had me very eager to see it. I caught it last night at the Alamo. You may have seen my video from last night at midnight, ranting and raving about cell phones and people talking on their phones, or not texting on their phones, and talking to each other is very frustrating. But whatever, it is what it is, and that's all that it is. Past. It's not a big deal. I go to the Alamo so much, and it's never that bad. In fact, that's why I like to go to the Alamo in the first place. But nevertheless, let us begin our look at the new Halloween movie. Okay, so where to begin here? I guess really I should begin. Do I like it? Do I like the new Halloween? Did I like it? The answer is yes. Ding, ding, ding. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Alaka, a lot. What's up, Jody Ramone? How are you? Yes, the answer is I very much liked the new Halloween movie. It might be my personal favorite Halloween movie. It's definitely the best of the new trilogy, of the H40 trilogy. It's definitely the best one of those. That's like a given, hands down a given. I don't have a Halloween ranking, but I will say that of all the Halloweens, my favorite is Halloween 3, and that's not some hot take. I just, you know, those of you who listen to my channel know my feelings about Halloween. I'm a Scream guy. I did not grow up on Halloween. I don't really, it's not a sacred cow. I always say that, not a sacred cow. I think Michael Myers is kind of like a one note thing that is great. It's very effective in the first movie, and then everything that's come after is just sort of ridiculous in one way or another. Yes, Jody, Silver Shamrock, exactly. 3 more days till Halloween, Halloween. The theme song for last year's 31 Days of Halloween was Jeff Reviews horror movies, something like that. Silver Shamrock. I was not, I've never really been enamored with the mythology and just anything with Michael Myers. I don't find him scary. I don't find I just don't find it that appealing. I've come to like find respect. I have respect for the original Halloween movie for what it represented and what it signifies, but it's not, it's not anything. I don't know. I just don't think it's that. I don't think that this franchise is all that. It's a beloved franchise with a rabid fan base. People rank, well, everybody ranks movies in general, but people love to rank the Halloween series for some reason. I don't understand. They all have Michael Myers in them. I just don't get it. I suppose that after Halloween 3, maybe my next favorite would be H2O. And somewhere up there is the Rob Zombie Halloween. Yes, I actually like the Rob Zombie Halloween. So sue me. You know why I like the Rob Zombie Halloween? Because I don't, the original Halloween isn't so precious to me. And I'm perfectly content with Rob Zombie's interpretation of the material, giving Michael Myers a backstory. He's doing something different, right? In the entire franchise. That's the funny thing about fandom and fanboys and fangirls and stans and all this different stuff that we have nowadays. By the way, how's my picture tonight? Am I all like framey and like choppy, or is it like fluid? Let me know in the comments, please. Curious to know. You have all these people and they're like, they get really mad if you don't give them the exact same thing over and over again. And they complain if you do. Give us something new. Give us something fresh. Wham, wham, wham. I want something new. I want something fresh. Or, no, it's so different. I hate it. I hate it. You can't win. You can't friggin' win. And what's interesting is if something's not precious to you, you're more open-minded to something that's going to take a chance, right? Like if it's something that sort of deviates from the formula. And I think that's why I like Halloween Ends so much, is because, or at least up to a certain point, I like Halloween Ends. I have to say, I do not like the end of Halloween Ends, but we'll get there. We will discuss that. We will talk about why that is precisely. Jody Ramone says, the ones I can't really get much into is 5 or 6 or Zombies Part 2. All the others are palatable. Just my opinion. I'm not a gatekeeper. I don't know. And no one thinks you are, Jody, for sure. And listen, you are entitled to your opinion as I am entitled to mine. No, everybody's entitled to whatever they like, really. But just curious, Jody, I didn't see you mention. So does that mean that you like Halloween Resurrection? I wrote today online. I said, somewhere out there in the world, in a population of 8 billion people on this planet, somebody's favorite Halloween movie, frankly, might even be somebody's favorite horror movie, is Halloween Resurrection. Could you imagine? There has to be somebody out there. Who? I don't know. But somebody, at least one in 8 billion. I think it's possible. I think it's very, very, very possible. So, oh man. All right. We got to dive into this, but I'm still kind of like circling the edge of appraising. Let's, there's so many different angles to hit here. So why do I like Halloween H2O? I love the idea of revisiting 20 years later. I love Laurie's character arc. Laurie's character arc is very much a one-note character arc for me. And you really only get a second bite of the apple in H2O. So everything else is tired. Like bringing her back for the Halloween in 2018, it didn't work for me. The Sarah Connor Laurie, it just did not. Could not suspend my disbelief because this one incident in 1978, and you've been preparing like Sarah Connor for the last 40 years. It just doesn't work. 20 now, if she was the Sarah Connor at 20 years, that would have worked a lot better for me. In fact, if you were to sort of inverse the two, I don't know. I think H2O was fine. And when I saw Halloween 2018, I was going, this is not necessary, man. Halloween H2O hits all these beats. Maybe it's a little tight. It's a little lean, right? Halloween H2O. It's like an 84-minute movie. We could have done with another 10, maybe 15 minutes of build up and character development, but we didn't get it. Jody says, I live in an alternate universe where resurrection doesn't exist, Jeff. So funny you bring that up, Jody, because I always like to joke that in an alternate universe and in the real world, in the whatever, in another dimension, they only made two Michael Myers movies. They did Season of the Witch, and everything that came after that was an anthology style, like American Horror Story was anthology style, where they changed the story every year. And Halloween is a beloved franchise that has as many movies in the franchise as there are James Bonds, if not more. You know what I'm saying? Where the only thing that strings it together is the title, and that John Carpenter is like an executive producer, and the story is different, and they're building out the universe, whatever. That began really with Season of the Witch. And instead, we're living in that alternate reality that's parallel to like Back to the Future Part 2, where they've made 19 Jaws movies. Like, that's supposed to be a funny joke. It's a funny joke in back, like that, like they're so far into the future, and Hollywood is so ridiculous with its, penchant for sequelizing things that there are 19 Jaws movies, and we got, I don't know how many there are, like 14 Michael Myers movies. There are 14, whatever. What's the number? I don't know what the number is. Let's, you know what? Let me Google this real quick. So I actually am coming from a place. How many Halloween movies are there? Let's see what it says. Doesn't give us a number, but it shows us all the movies. Here we go. Ready? There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and minus Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, there are 12 movies about Michael Myers. 12 movies, man. I mean, it's staggering. It's staggering. Again, something that is purely one note that maybe is good for an original. Like, okay, Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween H2O. Fine. Great. Perfect. You're going to do a remake, Halloween and Halloween 2. Tells the whole story in a duology of sorts. Perfect. We do, how much more do we really need? How much more Michael Myers do you really need? Jody says, Jeff, I agree. Story-wise, I appreciate H2O more than Halloween 2018, but I think the mask looks better in the latter for what it's worth. Jody, I agree with you. I love the mask. I love the mask in Rob Zombie's Halloween, and I love the mask. One of the best things they got right about the new Halloween 2018 was that mask. Amy is in the house tonight. Amy, I know Amy just saw it as well, right? Amy, didn't you say you saw it? What did you think of it, Amy? Jody, what did you think of it? I'm assuming you must have seen it as well. We are spoiling the crap out of this movie, by the way. So if you have not seen it, you should probably turn it off here. Now that we've talked about the all that stuff, let's like focus on this new trilogy. So they set us up. They're with this new trilogy, right? We got Sharpie Riot of riotstickers.com is in the house. He's here listening to us talk about, he prints these stickers. We'll do our little spiel in a bit. So Sharpie says that he likes the first one. Amy says, yes, I did. It's a very divisive film. Yes, Amy, it's very polarizing. It's very divisive. Some people love it. Some people hate it. I too liked it a lot. So I briefly touched on the fact that Halloween 2018, H40 as they call it, is somewhat of an, I don't know. It doesn't really like it did. I don't like the Sarah Connor aspect of Laurie Strode. I just feel like at this point, like what's the point of Laurie Strode after Halloween H2O? But whatever, we get Laurie Strode is back. Halloween Kills, which I reviewed last year for 31 Days of Halloween. You could go watch that review. Gave us one of the best memes in the world. Pumpkin pies tonight. What's up? We got Robbie Bloodshed in the house. How you doing? Robbie, I'm just warning you, we are going to spoil the crap out of this movie, dude. We're going to spoil it like garbanzo beans, okay? So if you haven't seen it yet, plug your ears. Halloween Kills gave us a great a great a great meme last Thanksgiving. Pumpkin pies tonight. Pumpkin pies tonight. Bye, Robbie. Robbie, get out of here because we're going to spoil the crap out of this. Robbie says, I liked it, but Michael Myers should have had more kills. Halloween Kills has a lot of kills in it. I thought Halloween Kills was goofy and ridiculous. And, you know, God, I'm like all over the place with my thoughts here. I'm not really being very succinct. So look, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends is its own sort of contained trilogy. What's up, Chris? How are you? It's its own contained trilogy, but the arc, now that we've seen the final film, I'm sad to say that that as a trilogy, it's a lackluster arc. It doesn't really, it's very all over the place. It's very messy. It's very patchwork. Even though we had the same director for all three movies, even though we had the same creative team for all three movies, it's very patchwork. It was very patchwork for me. In Halloween Kills, Laurie Strode isn't even in the movie. Everything shifts focus to Tommy Doyle. And much like they do in the Scream movies, probably Scream's biggest mistake of all, they kill off, instead of killing off Michael Myers, they kill off characters, interesting characters that they could keep filing in, and in Halloween Kills, they off Tommy Doyle at the end. They also start to go into, right, Lindsay is her name. Kyle Richards, she plays Lindsay. She kind of doesn't really do anything. She doesn't really do anything in Halloween Ends. Like she's there and like she's like around and reacts to stuff, but like nothing ever comes of her arc, whatever, or lack thereof. But yeah, Halloween Kills, it's just it feels, it's a little hollow. It's all about kills. It's a fun slasher flick. If you like fun slasher flicks, you're going to love Halloween Kills. It's great fun. I would even say Halloween is great fun. Both Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills are great fun. But, from a story, like a literary story perspective, it doesn't work. None of it really like fits. It doesn't feel super connected. And what happens in Halloween Kills is at the very end, they decide we're going to go full supernatural with Michael Myers, right? Just like completely supernatural with Michael Myers. He's going to get up after being, after the townspeople are like, pumpkin pies tonight. They're ready for pumpkin pies tonight. And they give Michael Myers his pumpkin pies, and Michael Myers gets up and he slices and dices Tommy Doyle, and then he disappears, man. And it's just kind of like, oh my God, Amy, you are the friggin' bomb, because I too felt the same way. You're getting ahead of yourself, Amy. But yes, Amy, that was going to be my main thesis of Halloween Ends. Amy has already jumped the gun. Thank you, Amy. Yes, Halloween Ends is sort of a secret spiritual companion to Christine. And we're going to talk about why that is. But I'm very excited that you said that, Amy. And like, good on you for being so astute. Okay. So yeah, but Halloween Kills, he gets up and he's supernatural. So you're thinking, okay, he's gonna, the rest of this, the rest of the conclusion to this trilogy is that Michael Myers is going to be this supernatural entity. Well, not quite. And we're going to get into, yes, right. And when the truck ran over the lady too. Exactly. Sorry. I'm all over the place. We were assuming that we were going to get this, like I said, we're going to get this supernatural thing happen. Okay. So here's the plot. Here's kind of like, we'll take this beat by beat a little bit. So a year after the events of Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, there's this guy, Corey, and he is 21 years old, and he's babysitting a boy named Jeremy who is sort of pulling a prank on Corey. He locks him in his attic, and he lives in this like 3-story house with all these staircases, and locks him in. And this, of course, happens just as Jeremy's parents are coming home. Corey is applying a lot of pressure on the door. He's like very afraid. We're thinking they're kind of leading us to believe that maybe Michael Myers is going to be in the house or something. And like a knife goes missing, like this whole thing. And it's really just setting up Corey to be at the wrong place at the wrong time for an accidental death. And what he does is he kicks open this door, and he accidentally knocks Jeremy goes over the staircase railing and falls 3 stories at the bottom of the ground to his death. And of course, Corey is, accused of intentionally killing Jeremy, but for whatever reason, he's cleared of manslaughter. I don't understand how that's possible, but he is. But they sort of set up Corey, who such a missed opportunity. Why don't they call this guy Gory Corey, man, or Corey Gory? Like, I just thought, I was like, when are they going to use the word gory? I just was like thinking, and yeah, it's visceral, bone crunching, as Jody says, it's bone crunching. What happens to this kid? Hold on. Oh, Rue is in the house. Rue says, watched it last night in the yard with the projector with a nice fire to set the mood. What? That's a great way to do it, Rue. He says, but I didn't really like it. It didn't give me the Halloween vibes. It wasn't terrible, but it sure as hell wasn't great. So Rue is he's on the other side of the fence. It did not tickle his fancy. That is totally valid, Rue. You sit with a lot of folks out there who are not happy. But again, I assume that Halloween is far more sacred for you than maybe it is for me. Jody says, Christine is so effing good. I jam the soundtrack from time to time, because we were saying Amy brought up, she said it before I could say it. That was going to be my big thing, my big hot take. The Christine vibes. There's so much Christine in Halloween Ends. It's crazy. Riot Stickers says, the closest I will ever be to watching it is watching this review. Oh, so Riot is not even going to watch the movie. He's not even going to watch the movie. He hasn't seen it. All right, man. As long as you don't care about the spoilers, that's your trip, man. That's your trip. So in any case, so Jeremy, the kid, little boy, dies Halloween night, 2019. Corey is, booked and arrested, but nothing happens. And then we get this whole thing. We get like some voiceover from Lori, and she's talking about how like just like strange things happen around Halloween over the next 2 years. Things happen, people unalive themselves, that sort of thing. Like all sorts of tragedies are occurring, and that like it's bad vibes on the town. So what happens is in Halloween Kills, they sort of establish Haddonfield itself becomes a character, in the sense of like Haddonfield lives with the trauma of Michael Myers, and that Haddonfield has had enough. And Tommy Doyle, he leads this, like the town into a frenzy, that sort of thing. And so that's what Laurie is kind of talking about in this voiceover. And she's writing a book, and, we've seen this before in Scream 4 with Sydney. But now they're doing it with Laurie. I guess it makes sense. But Haddonfield is reeling from the aftermath of Michael Myers, and just, Laurie. So Laurie's writing her memoir, and she explains that, she's bought a new house. Okay. She has a new house, and she's like, doesn't live in her like secluded cabin anymore. And she's like changed. She's like, I'm going to not allow myself to be affected by Michael Myers anymore, which is kind of funny. She spends 40 years preparing for Michael's return when he's gone, when he's locked up, when he's truly out of everybody's hair. And then once he's gone missing and is still at large, that's when she decides to let go and live fully free after her daughter is murdered by Michael Myers. Kind of a weird thing to do, but she does it. Whatever. I'm just rolling with it. Again, at least this is how I feel, like emotionally in the movie. I see comments. I'm going to hold off on the comments because I want to make sure I'm being pinpoint focused. We will come back to the comments and fold them into the review as we continue on. And, after the death of her daughter, Allison, the granddaughter, now lives with Lori, right? She lives with Lori, and they live in this nice house. Um, and then you have Corey, this kid Corey, the 21-year-old, who was like, he had like a promising college career ahead of him and stuff. And he has a face. He looks like, he kind of reminds me of a kid from Christine. He looks like a classic 80s actor in some way, shape, or form. I can't describe it. He just has this vibe about him. He was perfect for the casting. I don't know his name. I think he's oh god, I don't know his name, but he was great. He was tremendous. So he works for his dad, right, at a salvage yard. And he's a pariah in the town. He got off, but the town doesn't like him. And he rides a bicycle and he wears glasses, and he gets bullied by high schoolers who are like, hey, buy us some beer, man. Buy us some beer. He's like, I'm not buying you beer, especially because, he's probably on probation of some kind. Who knows? Who knows what his situation is after getting off, after getting off for the manslaughter case. Hold on, fixing my microphone here. He's still reeling from all that, but he's holding like a glass bottle, and they're like bullying him, and we're getting the first glimpse of Corey's anger. He breaks this bottle, and it cuts his hand and whatnot. And of course, Laurie Strode, she sees all of this go down, and she's like, hey, let's go slash this kid's tires, like the high school bully kid. So they slash his tires. And she brings him into a doctor's office where Allison works, right? And Allison treats, who's in the trilogy as well. She treats Corey's wounds, and she knows who Corey is, and they start to vibe. They vibe over their shared trauma. Now, they don't actually share the exact same trauma, but Allison has been through her own trauma, losing her mother and being like the granddaughter of Laurie Strode, and being dealing with Michael Myers. And Corey essentially is been labeled like, he's kind of like, he's this pariah for the manslaughter case, right? And they start to vibe, and they go out to a Halloween party, and Corey's having like a great time. He's like cutting loose and starting to have fun. And at this point, we don't know how Corey's going to go. Maybe Corey is going to be a protagonist, or maybe he's going to be an antagonist. I can't really tell at this particular point, but Jeremy's mother, who is like just ravaged now from losing her son, rightfully so, bumps into Corey at this Halloween party. It's like at a bar type place where that girl I was just talking about, Lindsay, whatever, the girl from Halloween Kills, she's like a bartender there. I guess it's the same bar where they have the Halloween gathering at the beginning of Halloween Kills with Tommy Doyle, as played by Anthony Michael Hall, right? So he's like, she's like, get out of here. How dare you like party on the anniversary of my son's death? I hate you. And then Corey blames Allison. He's like, you shouldn't have taken me here. I'm stupid to think that I could like be normal, that whole trip. He's like, I don't think we can be together, because if we're, I can't be with you because like, it's better to, let's just nip this in the bud, because we're never going to have a good relationship. I don't know, something like that. He walks away, right? And he bumps into those high schoolers again, and he gets into it with them. They break his glasses. So now his glasses are broken, just like in Christine, the guy, Keith, what's his face in Christine, right? They break his glasses, and they throw him off a bridge, and he lands in a ditch that's kind of like under like a freeway, I guess. And he wakes up, and I think he's dragged into the sewer. Is he dragged into the sewer, or does he crawl into the sewer? I don't remember. But no. Maybe he just crawls into the sewer. I'm trying to remember what he does. Um, hmm. I can't remember. In any case, he winds up in a sewer. Now, the sewer is a metaphor, right? The sewer is a metaphor for Corey's inner psyche. You know, um, the sewer represents the deep, the deep repressed darkness within Corey that they talk about in the movie, and Laurie really dwells on this later about like how like Corey is, has that same evil affinity as Michael Myers. And when Corey crawls into this representation of his own inner darkness, he finds a very weak, very, lethargic is the right word. It's like Michael Myers is like a reptile, man, who hasn't sunbathed in a really long time. He finds Michael Myers just in this sewer, and Michael kind of like grabs him by the throat, but he doesn't kill him. And they kind of have this shared synergy thing. It's almost like as if Michael is transferring his essence to this guy, or awakening a kindred dark essence within this guy. Corey, Corey is let go by this weakened Michael Myers. And I guess it's because he senses this, like I said, he senses this darkness. And on his way, when he's coming out of the sewers, he's confronted by a homeless man that is very reminiscent of the homeless man in Return of the Living Dead, actually. And he ends up killing the guy with a knife. So he kills him with a knife. And now Corey has been involved with 2 deaths, one intentional and one unintentional. So it's like this guy is clearly a magnet for violence, whether it's accidental violence by pushing the door. And here's the other thing too. When Corey is locked up in the attic, in the darkness of the attic, and he's like frightened of what's up there, or what's, what he thinks could be up there, the attic kind of represents his mind. He gets locked inside of his own mind and is forced to confront things that terrify him. And when he tries to push his way out of the inner darkness of his mind, he accidentally kills Jeremy. And it's the same thing. If the addict is the representation of his mind, then the sewer is the representation of his heart, which are both these dark, decrepit places. And when he leaves his heart, when he leaves his mind, someone dies. People die when he does that, right? And deep in his heart is Michael Myers, which alludes to what is to come, right? So after that, we get a bunch of it's weird. This is where the story starts to get a little inconsistent, because Corey and Allison, they're developing this relationship. They're going out. They're slowly falling for each other. They even bump into Allison's ex, who's a police officer. And he's like kind of harassing her. And he's like, yo, step off, step off. And the cop follows Corey to the sewer and, basically assists Michael Myers in killing him. And when Michael Myers kills this cop, this recharges Michael. It's like he's reawakened. But all of these things, whether it's the relationship with Corey and Allison, or Michael Myers being like this weakened entity who's slowly recharging himself by killing, none of it's consistent. All of it is sort of like it's on shaky ground. But the strongest hook of the story really doesn't lie with Michael Myers at all. Michael Myers is almost like an afterthought. The main focus is on this guy, Corey. And it's exciting to me. I'm actually excited. You know why? Because Halloween is doing something different for once, man. They're doing something different. It's not like Star Wars, where, a precedent was set with the first film in the sequel trilogy, and the ball is being passed, and we're expecting a certain sort of thing. It's like, we've done Michael Myers killing people for 12 movies now. Let's do something a little bit different. Let's do something that will give the franchise legs without Michael Myers. And that's what they were setting up in this guy, Corey. And it was exciting. It was exciting to me. I'm going, cool. Okay. So you're expanding on a mythology. You're passing the torch and expanding on the mythology. I could already imagine all the different places that we're going to go with this guy, Corey, the conflict between Corey and Allison, because Allison is not, even though Allison, here's the thing, Allison doesn't realize she's attracted to Corey's darkness, but doesn't think it's darkness. She thinks that he's like a victim. You know what I'm saying? So she's attracted to the wrong quality. And if Corey was like, hey, come and like, he does say it. He's like, hey, let's set the world on fire. Like, let's burn everything to the ground. And she's kind of like, yeah, sure. Okay. But she thinks that it's like us against the world. Let's run away on our bikes. Not like, hey, let's like go and murder people in their houses. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what he's all about. In any case, so Corey helps Michael murder this guy. And now now it's like Batman and Robin. It's like, this is like the Dark Knight Returns of Michael Myers movies, man. It's like Michael Myers comes out of retirement. The supernatural stuff is essentially kind of gone because you know, while we don't know what Michael was eating in that sewer, maybe he was just eating rats. But like, to think that was he just like sitting in the sewer for 3 years without moving? He was just there for no reason. So on some level, he has to be like a revenant or a specter or something. But on the other level, like he just seems very much like this human, but in his weakened state, or at least not entirely supernatural. It's a really sticky situation. And you know what else is sticky? Riot stickers. Riot stickers are sticky. And you know who prints our stickers? Friggin' Riot stickers. Sharpie Riot. He also did this banner behind me. He does phenomenal work. You know what's great about Riot stickers? One, they use vinyl to print their stickers. So you know what that makes these stickers? It makes them waterproof. Okay. These stickers are waterproof. Rain or shine, the stickers are going to stick. They're going to stick on. They're going to repel the water. But let me tell you something. That's not the only thing that makes Riot stickers special. You know what else makes Riot stickers special? What do other stickers do when they're in the sun? Stickers are kind of like vampires. You know why? You know why they're like vampires? Because when the sun hits them, they vaporize and disappear. But not Riot stickers. You know why? Because Sharpie puts a UV coating over the sticker to make them sunproof. Okay? I've stuck these stickers out in sunny spots, and when I come around and I'm like, hey, there's my sticker, it's still just as good as the day I stuck it on there. You know why? Because these stickers don't run, baby. So riotstickers.com, we have a special promotion with them, okay? You can't get this promotion anywhere else. It's 1,000 stickers for $79. That's 7 cents per sticker, okay? You're not going to find a better deal than that. Riotstickers.com. The link is in the description right here. Yes, Rue said it best. 1,000 stickers for $79. It's just, you cannot beat that deal. You can't get that deal anywhere else. If you go to Riot Stickers on the website, you're not going to find that deal. You have to go to my link, riotstickers.com/Frumess, okay? There's no promotional code. You just click on that link and boom, you got the deal. You know what comes next, right? You know what comes next. What comes next right now? Hold on. We got to let the computer load. Here we go.
We make stickers, banners, and buttons too. Posters and promo cards. There's nothing we can't print for you. From stage backdrops to bass drum heads. We can print on shirts. We can print on hats. We can print on pants. Cheap prices and high quality. Quick turnaround times and free shipping. We also offer free artwork support. Great customer service and so much more. Riotstickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb.
Okay, we are back. Let's go to some of the comments before we continue on. Jody says, Jeff, I disliked how Mike had sympathy or was weakened. Okay. Yeah, I didn't like that either, to be honest with you. But at the same time, I was like, as long as it's servicing the story, I'm on board, but it didn't really service the story. So it was kind of like this pointless, it was a random thing. We didn't need it. Jody also says Halloween Kills is like the 90-minute of Evil Dies Tonight plus blood. Pumpkin pies tonight. Pumpkin pies tonight. Chris still hasn't seen it. Chris, don't watch this review, man. You're crazy. Amy says, I wish people could see the symbolism of this film. It did what no other Halloween has done. It made the boogeyman a man. My father said Michael Myers is a dog suffering from his wounds, waiting to die. That's actually pretty astute. He is kind of like just a dog waiting to die. He kind of gets strong for a minute, and then, I don't know. Just, it's kind of ridiculous. John is jumping on via YouTube. I appreciate that. Jody says, good point, Amy, and your pops is right. To piggyback on that, the coolest thing about this modern trilogy is the symbolism of trauma and themes. Yes. Riot says, this all sounds like a Ninja Turtles movie. Kale says, I feel like Halloween Ends would be a weird but fitting double feature with the 86 film Trick or Treat, which I've still never seen. That is on my queue, man. I still have to see it. I still have to watch it. I think that's it. Definitely be ordering Riot stickers soon. That's great, Rue. You know where to go. You know where to go. Everybody knows that you know where to go. Okay, let's keep talking. So, as I was saying, right? What were we talking? Where were we in our review? That Corey, he kills the cop and he helps Michael Myers. Then he becomes, and mind you, Corey was given the scarecrow mask by Allison when they went to the Halloween party, like the costume party, and that's become his moniker. He's the scarecrow. Although I think he should just call him Gory Corey. That's what I'm going to call him, right? So Gory Corey murders Allison's coworker and boss along with Michael Myers. They go and they basically do this team up thing, right? And then at the same time, Allison and Corey plan to leave Haddonfield because of, all the baggage that's there. And, Laurie Laurie and Allison, they start to fall out with each other, right? They're falling out. And Laurie's starting to become, she's becoming very suspect of, Laurie is becoming suspect of Corey. Wow, Laurie, Corey, I didn't even realize that rhymed. It makes sense. Two babysitters with two completely different outcomes, Laurie and Corey. And, there's this thing about one of them is the freak and one of them is the psycho. And the high school kids kind of label them as, mind you, the town has now blamed Laurie for Michael Myers returning, and that people's death, she's blamed for people's deaths because of Michael Myers. They basically are victim blaming Laurie. It's somehow Laurie's fault for making Michael Myers want to kill again. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, and then the other thing about Corey and Allison's relationship, it very much reminds me of Billy Loomis and Sidney Prescott, in the sense that, Sydney doesn't know that her boyfriend is a killer, and she's hoping for some sort of happily ever after, but it's never going to come because he's orchestrating this crazy sort of thing. And Corey is doing something similar. Corey is straddling two worlds, one where he wants to be, it's us against the world with Laurie Strode's granddaughter, and one where he is basically taking on the mantle of Michael Myers. And Laurie, she follows him. Corey gets kicked out of his house by his incredibly annoying and overbearing mother, who you will imagine is probably something's gonna happen to her down the line. She's kind of like the mom from Detroit Rock City, Jeremiah's mother, with just a very similar vibe as that. and just really annoying, like the type of character in a horror movie where you're like, oh my God, when you get it, it's going to be awesome. Like, we want you to get it. And isn't it crazy that like horror movies will do that? They'll like set up characters in a way where you're rooting for them to get it, like as if that is grounds for such a punishment. Kind of crazy when you think about it in real life. So Lori is like, so Corey gets kicked out of his house. He's sleeping on the very spot where Jeremy was murdered or killed or whatever. Lori is like, I know something's up with you. You got a darkness inside of you, something like that. And Lori doesn't want Corey to leave with Allison. And Corey basically, blames her for the events that have occurred in Haddonfield, and says, if I can't be with Allison, then nobody will, that sort of thing. And this all leads to October 31st. And Corey, he goes back to the sewer to see Michael. And again, nothing's really going on with Michael. And I know why the diehards are angry, like really angry about this movie. They're like, it doesn't feel like, how could this be a Halloween movie without Michael Myers? And like, that's the problem. Like, it's the problem, and it's just the reality. On one hand, Halloween is synonymous with Michael Myers. On the other hand, like, in order for this series to have any kind of life or breath, it needs to break free from the thing that makes it so great in the first place, or has made it great in the past in the first place. And we know that it's possible because, again, Season of the Witch is having this incredible renaissance. People love Season of the Witch. They love it as much as they love, all the Michael Myers stuff. There's something to be said for that. And it's really happened over the last 10 years where now, like, everybody's just like in love with Season of the Witch and would readily embrace an anthology movie series. And maybe they'll do something like it. I really don't see, now that they've like sort of put Michael Myers and Laurie Strode to bed, I don't see how they continue Halloween, how they reboot it again. They just have to do another remake. It's just the same thing over and over again. Don't do it. Do something different. Do something different. In any case, Corey, it's Halloween. Corey goes back to the sewers and he wrestles Michael for his mask and takes it from him. And he hops in his mechanic jumpsuit. By the way, some other movies that we talked about, Christine. There's the Christine vibe. He replaces his bicycle with a motorcycle, and he stops wearing his glasses and he gets a girl. He's just like the Keith guy from Christine. It's great. It has totally that Christine Carpenter vibe to it. It really does. In a way, it's kind of the most Carpenter. It's absolutely the most Carpenter of the three new Halloween movies, I think, personally, on some level. There's a lot of Grease 2 in Halloween Ends, between him being the geeky guy on the motorbike trying to impress the girl. It just moonlighting as a masked Mysterio. All of those themes are in Grease 2, whether you like it or not. So Grease 2, you have Grease 2 plus Christine plus Scream plus Halloween makes up Halloween Ends for the most part. So now he is ready to become the new Michael Myers, which to me is great. Let the original Michael Myers die. Let gory Corey become the new Michael Myers. And you know what's great? It's almost like you can still call him Michael Myers. Like, I love the idea that he is the Michael Myers. In the same way that at the end of Rise of Skywalker, the Jedi have died, but now it's like Skywalker is the new name for like this Jedi adjacent thing. I'm a Skywalker, Rise of Skywalker. I kind of like the idea of like, first of all, it'd be kind of funny if it was Halloween, the Rise of Michael Myers. I like the idea of Michael Myers becoming a moniker in the same way that The Mask is a moniker. And we kind of get that a little bit. So Now he is in full on psycho stalker mode. He's also told Allison, hey, let's leave together. And like Allison's like, okay, great. We're going to leave together on Halloween night. And then he just sort of bounces, right? Yeah, he just sort of bounces. In any case, Lori and Allison, they get into an argument when Allison's like, I'm gonna go run away with Corey. And Allison, just like everybody else, kind of blames Lori for Michael's actions. It's just not fair, man. And then Corey goes on a rampage. So Corey's doing, this is where the movie is the actions at this point hurt the movie, the story of the movie, because Corey is like straddling these two worlds. It just does not work for me a little bit. At the same time, I love that he's become the new Michael Myers. And I'm thinking, like, frankly, is he going to kill Michael? Like, he should have been the one that kills Michael Myers and then takes over. That's what I'll tell you what I would have liked to have seen after. We'll get through. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. We'll talk about that, right? But he goes on a rampage at the auto yard that is owned by his dad. He kills all the high school kids, and that's a very Christine, like, stalker, like, sort of situation, right? It's like a auto yard, salvage yard sort of thing. And one of the kids, one of the jock kids, high schooler kids, accidentally kills Corey's dad as well. Corey afterwards goes and kills his mother. And then there was this DJ character who works for WURG, WRG radio, URG radio. And we get the best needle drop in the entire Halloween franchise. Besides Halloween playing in Rob Zombie's Halloween, we get the Cramps' I Was a Teenage Werewolf. And it's great, man. The needle drops, the DJ gets murdered. You have like his tongue gets ripped out, and then it's like spinning on the record player. It's really fun. It's a really fun sort of scene, and the record sort of skips. The vibe is great. This guy's kind of like trapped in the 70s, this DJ, which is kind of interesting. I forgot to mention the sheriff. What the hell is his name? The sheriff from Will Patton. Right. He's Deputy Frank, I think. And he was the guy who was there in 1978, and they kind of like retroactively sort of built him in via Halloween Kills, but he's back, and he's kind of like, he kind of becomes Laurie's like love interest. And he's talking about how he has a new lease on life because Laurie saved his life. He has a new lease on life. And he's learning how to play guitar, and they like flirt in a grocery store, and he's learning how to do Japanese. And, he wants to go to Japan and like see cherry blossoms. He's like, hey, Laurie, you want to come with me to Japan and see the cherry blossoms? And then Laurie bumps into one of Michael Myers' victims, one of her neighbors, who's in a wheelchair now and can't talk. So he's kind of floating around too a little bit. So Allison is like searching. Allison's out looking for Corey. She can't find him. Corey's murdering people. He's murdering his mother. He's murdering the high school kids. She's calling him, texting him to no avail, that sort of thing. Laurie calls the police because she wants to report a fake report of a attempt to unalive oneself, if you know what I mean. And apparently, so what's interesting is like, you're really not sure, is she going to try and do it? And, if she had done it, would it have been effective? It would have been terrible. It would have been a terrible way to end that character. However, it was interesting to see her battle with that, because Allison is not only her granddaughter, but her future and her hope for like a normal life, through, not just by herself, but like in the fact that her family is still alive. And, when she's seen so much death, and to lose that it makes sense that maybe she would want to try and take that action, even though obviously that's never the solution here. Um, and we get this scene, this drawn out, is she going to do it? Is she not? And someone's in the house and we're not sure who it is. Maybe it's Michael Myers. Maybe it's Corey. And of course it's actually Corey. We hear a gunshot, a pumpkin explodes that Laurie had just sort of lit. And it's kind of interesting. One aspect that definitely did not work for me is that like Laurie is like, it sort of embraced Halloween. You would feel like Laurie would just like shut the holiday of Halloween out of her life, but she's like, it's almost like she's very unaffected by the holiday itself. She's obviously heavily affected by events that have happened on Halloween, but Halloween itself doesn't really affect her. And she likes celebrating it. She makes pumpkin pies. She makes jack-o'-lanterns. So she lights this pumpkin, threatens to unalive herself. And of course, it's Corey in Michael Myers' mask, and she shoots him. And we get this really badass line. She's like, do you really think I would go and do something like that? And reveals she's like kind of luring her in. And Corey does something that doesn't really make sense and kind of really annoyed the crap out of me. This is where the movie actually really goes downhill. So up to this point, the movie is super promising. Corey has taken the Michael Myers mask. He's gone on the killing spree. It's everything. It's super fun. And all is well. The only other complaint I have, I sound like I'm complaining a lot for a movie that I really liked, but this is more of like a nitpick, tiny nitpick. I felt like there needed to be more Halloween decorations. This is something that Halloween 2018 does incredibly well. They really made the whole like Halloween, they made Haddonfield feel like a Halloween town. There was very much that Halloween vibe. And we lost all of that. That was all sort of, or it was not very intense. I needed more of it, and we didn't get it in this movie, right? So in any case, this is where the movie falls apart. When Corey confronts Laurie, she shoots him twice, and then she says, like, all right, so do it. So murder me already. Because she's like, I've lost my granddaughter, and I don't know. So she went from not wanting to unalive herself to allow someone to murder her. But Corey doesn't do that. Corey's like, if I can't be with her, then, nobody will. And he basically does himself in, he right into the neck with the what. And he does it to kind of frame Laurie for his death, that sort of thing. Because when Allison opens the door, she finds Laurie covered in his blood with the knife in her hand. It's exactly the same setup as at the beginning of the movie. So Corey is trying to impose his own fate onto Laurie by doing what he does, unaliving himself right there in the house. But he's still kind of alive, I guess. Michael, who begins stalking Laurie and Corey, arrives because he wants his mask back, right? And he is the one who ends up actually killing Corey. He snaps his neck, and then we get what is supposed to be the final battle between Laurie and Michael Myers, and it's not very epic, man. It's we already got a far more epic scenario in Halloween 2018. And we got by far the most epic and catharsis giving showdown in Halloween H2O. That's what made Halloween H2O so great. 20 years after these events, Laurie Strode is living under an assumed name. She has a son, and she is incredibly sort of apprehensive and careful and scared, that sort of thing. She drinks too much. And she realizes that she can't run away from her brother, Michael Myers, because at this point, he's still her brother. So we have that family dynamic going on, just like in Star Wars. That's what makes Star Wars so great, right? The conflict between family members, Shakespearean even. And she turns around, she says, I'm going to make my last stand here. I am going to confront Michael Myers. And she does, and we get a nice little showdown. So after that, and after what we got in Halloween H40 and Halloween 2018, I just seeing it for a third time, it gave me no feeling. I did not really care. You know, if Laurie had died, I would have shrugged my shoulders and been like, okay. And if Michael Myers had died right then and there, which he kind of does, I would have been like, sure, okay. The thing that let me down was Corey's death. Because here's what I foresaw happening, where I thought it was going to go, and I was very excited that Corey takes over the moniker of Michael Myers, that he wins the day, that he wins, that he is actually the antagonistic protagonist. He murders Laurie, he kills Michael Myers, and he becomes the new Michael Myers, but he runs away with Allison. And that sets us up for a whole new trilogy of films where they get married and have kids, and every Halloween, Corey has to fight the urge not to put on the mask. And of course, he can't help himself. And Allison has to confront her husband and save her children from the monster that she's unintentionally married. And that could have been its own separate thing that continues the story, or at least given us another 1 to 3 movies if you wanted to, if you really wanted to. Instead, the movie does what, or apparently, allegedly does what it intends to do. It wants to end everything. But didn't we already get an end? We got this ending how many times before? We got it in Halloween 2. We got it in Halloween H2O. We got it in Halloween Resurrection. Halloween Resurrection. We got it in, what else did we get it in? We got it in, and now we're getting in Halloween Ends. How many fucking times are we going to get it? Oh my God. Look at this love we got from Riot Stickers. Sharpie, thank you. Thank you for the support, Sharpie. He says they kind of did that in Halloween 4. They could have passed the torch to Jamie. That's right. I mean, we got an entire trilogy of Jamie films, right? Is that not what we got? They could have done that again since they did that already, since they remade the Halloween trilogy. And mind you, if you look at the title cards for Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends, they are the same fonts, the same styled fonts for Halloween 1, 2, and 3. Okay? It's the same thing, which I thought was kind of cool. Thank you, Sharpie. Thank you for the support. Much appreciated. Guys, again, remember, riotstickers.com. We did the spiel. In any case, so it's like we could have done so much with Corey. He's such a interesting character to me. Like they're growing him. We've spent this whole movie watching him develop, watching his origin story. Frankly, the reality is that Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends really could have just been 2 movies, right? And from the first movie to the second movie, you could watch Corey develop his arc, right? So you see him establish and become, and by like at the end of the first movie, he makes his first kill, which sets us up, leaves us on a cliffhanger for the second movie, which would be Halloween and Halloween Ends or whatever. You know, if again, like I said, if you were to just make it 2 movies instead of 3 movies, because Halloween Kills is just filler, man. It's kind of a filler movie. Not much happens in it. You know, it's just a lot of killing. Halloween Kills. So you could have done a lot of stuff. You just could have done a lot of stuff with it. And instead, he's dead. And we have Laurie and Michael are fighting each other. They are fighting. And, you know, of course, for a woman, you know, going up against somebody who's supposed to be like, she's a woman in her 60s or 70s going up against a, supposedly superhuman 60-year-old, I guess, I don't know, who's built like a linebacker and is incredibly strong. But for some reason, Laurie Strode has that, what's it called? Has that plot armor that allows her to fight Michael Myers mano a mano in a meaningful kind of way. And, again, we've seen Michael Myers kill people in less time that it takes to blink one's eye. But for some reason, he just takes his sweet time trying to subdue Laurie. And she busts out the knitting needle. And then for a split second, I thought maybe Laurie was going to get a knitting needle in the face, and that would have been the end of her. At this point, I'm really not sure. I'm like, they've got to kill Laurie Strode. Like she and Michael have to end this together. One of the coolest parts of this new trilogy was really the first movie, which I thought was going to be just a one-off. I didn't think it was going to be a trilogy. And I thought the idea was that Laurie Strode comes back and that she says, Michael, I forgot what she says at the end. She says something like, Michael, this is a trap. She was a trap. The whole house is a trap. And she sets it on fire and it like collapses on him and whatnot. Of course, he survives that too. And it's just kind of like you think that they're gonna like end each other. I'm thinking in this kitchen that's gonna end, but it's just an extended. It's a struggle, man. And Laurie ends up pinning Michael to the table with a bunch of knives. She removes his mask. This movie does not ever want to show. This movie doesn't ever want to show Myers's face, right? Ever. Guys, I'm going to get to all the comments because we're almost done with our review. We're going to get to the comments and we'll have final thoughts and wrap this up. So, I mean, like, she stabs him a bunch of times. She pins him down, right? She throws the refrigerator on him, which is a great touch. I love it when she does that. And she pins him to the table and she goes, tonight is the night where I remind you that you're human and that you bleed or something like that. Kind of like what Amy was talking about, what Amy's dad was saying. And she slits his throat, but he, breaks free and strangles her. But then Allison arrives and she breaks his arm, super strong Allison. And then Laurie, slits his wrists. Oh, I shouldn't say that on YouTube. And this allegedly, kills him finally and avenges Karen's death, I guess. And then we get this sort of weird epilogue where the entire town embraces. We see that sheriff dude, the black sheriff dude from the other films. He shows up for the first time in the movie and they all like carry Michael Myers. They strap him to the roof of the car and it's like a funeral procession. It's kind of cool, but it's also kind of like, it's kind of anticlimactic a little bit. They take his body to this, back to the auto yard and all of Haddonfield follows suit. So it's kind of like the Haddonfield that was dealing with Michael Myers and Halloween Kills the town. It really is. It's a procession is what it is. And so there's a shredder, right? An industrial shredder. You've seen them. You've seen the YouTube videos where they could throw anything into the shredder. It can shred cars, anything. And they take Michael Myers' body and they throw it in there. And that's it. That's the end of Michael Myers. Then we get an epilogue to the epilogue. Laurie and Allison, they're cool again. And Allison decides to finally leave Haddonfield behind. And Laurie, she doesn't. She stays in her house and she finishes the book, the memoir that she's doing. And at the very end, Officer Hawkins, the Frank Hawkins guy, the guy from, what's his name? Will Patton. He comes and he brings her a bunch of groceries and they talk about the cherry blossoms. And you're like, oh, they're probably going to get hitched. And that's the end. And it ends on, it's so anticlimactic. Like right up to that point, I was right up until the point right before Corey dies. I was just so stoked about this movie. And then we're left with what is somewhat of a lackluster ending. It still doesn't take away, considering how I felt that the other two were like, like whatever. Halloween and Halloween Kills, this to me was a breath of fresh air. And so I'm almost forgiving of that ending because it was a breath of fresh air. And that's really it, man. And so I'm like, so the thing that bums me out, so the thing that really, really bums me out is the fact that we don't get this dude. Oh, his name is Rohan Campbell as Corey Cunningham. That Corey doesn't become this new version. It just would have been cooler, man. It just would have worked better, if you ask me. And what are we going to get? What are we going to get in the future? Like I said, I don't know. If you give us an anthology, do something different now. Go in a completely different direction. Give us a sequel. Okay, next film, give us a follow-up to Halloween Season of the Witch. Give us Halloween 3 Part 2, Season of the Witch Returns. And then do something different and something different and something different. You can keep these Halloween movies going. I'm going to go to the comments now. And I apologize for ignoring them all. I just wanted to get through that. Yeah. Kale says predatory Corey. I like gory Corey better, but fine. Let's not forget DK Halloween. What is the DK and DK Halloween, Rue? I'm confused. John says those high school kids were seriously the most unintimidating horror movie bullies I've ever seen. Dude, so John, you are so on the ball. They were not intimidating at all. You know, I can't give us the crew that was in Christine. They were good. They were effective. Amy says, I noticed the font they used in the title of the movie. That's Season of the Witch. Right. So the first one is Halloween 78. The second one is Halloween 2. The Night Isn't Over. And the third is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Season of the Witch is the Sam Hain of the movies. Classic and the most underrated. Yeah, dude. I love season. Amy says, I love Season of the Witch. Very underrated. Silver Shamrock, of course. The Minister of Darkness is here, and the minister says, the minister is speaking in third person, as the minister does. The minister was truly disappointed with Halloween Ends. I like the other ones, but this movie should have been called Halloween Fall. This movie should have been called Halloween Fails, or you could just say Halloween Falls. Jody says Cop Jack-O-Lantern in 2018 is my favorite of all the Kills trilogy. This is a good one. Minister says that Paul Rudd Halloween was better than Halloween Ends. Okay, I did a whole review on the Paul Rudd Halloween 6 Curse of Michael Myers. It's on this channel. I did it for last year's Halloween, 31 Days of Halloween. Go check that out. It was something. You mean Halloween Fills? He says, Tom Palmer says, awful film. The scariest thing about it is the clowns who made it and set to destroy The Exorcist next. What are they doing The Exorcist for real? Rue says that fucking knitting needle was used in the first Halloween. That's right. The scar when he stabs she stabs him in the neck. He does not kill her. Now, okay, what would have been a more fitting ending for Laurie Strode and Michael Myers than what we got? Would have been okay. All right, I have two. One of them is way darker than the other one. The first one they both involve this. Michael Myers comes after Allison, and Laurie sacrifices herself to save her granddaughter. Both Michael Myers and Laurie die in the process, whether it's in a fire, maybe they're putting her into the industrial grinder, and Laurie dives in, pushing Michael Myers, and she falls into. In any which case, Allison, having forgiven her grandmother over the stuff with Corey, leaves Haddonfield for good, free of the Michael Myers curse once and for all. That's how I would have liked to see. So it should have been Laurie could have died, and it should have been a sacrifice to save her granddaughter. That would have worked better for me, I guess. Tom Palmer also says, I never thought I'd see a Halloween film I like less than Resurrection, but they managed. Okay, so you really don't like it. For those of you who are joining us late, I said at the beginning of this that might be one of my favorite Halloween films because of all the Corey stuff. I really liked the Corey stuff. Yes, Minister. I mean, that's true. Michael went from superhuman to super stupid. This was the most inconsistent part of the new trilogy. He's a supernatural being at the end of Halloween Kills, and then in this one, he's not. I mean, what the hell? Tom Palmer says, last one, Michael was stabbed and shot multiple times by 20 plus people, and despite that, kills them all. And this, he's wrestled to the ground by a 20-year-old who previously was bullied by teenagers. Joke film. So Minister and Tom Palmer, they are bedfellows in the sense that they are both on the same page. And Chris, who hasn't even seen the movie and has been letting this review spoil it for him, says that ending sucked. I'm sorry. I don't shoot the messenger, Chris. Minister says nothing beats Michael's burning death, the end of Halloween 2. Yes, that is good. I agree. Lowell, compare them to 80s movie bullies. Well, they definitely have the 80s movie bully vibe down, but look-wise, they are not very scary. Solo says, Brian says, I'm glad I haven't seen it yet. Sounds like it's just a jumble of stuff. You shouldn't have watched this. You should have just watched Dead Kennedys. Right. Dead Kennedys have a Halloween song as well. Okay, now I understand what Rue was talking about, them both dying together. Riot Sticker says, I've always wanted a full movie about Michael leading up to the night that he killed his sister. I know Rob Zombie version covered a lot of that time, but it didn't follow what we see in the original film. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm all about that. Some people really don't want any Michael Myers backstory, but I got to tell you, man, I like Rob Zombie. I like what Rob Zombie did. I don't have a problem. And that's because I don't care about Halloween the way some of you out there do. Jody says, I was at least expecting a metal coat hanger to be present in the movie, 78 style. Well, we do get her hiding in the closet with the slats. Derpy Gaming says, I'm glad I haven't seen Kills or the new one after 2018. I knew it was going to be ish after I watched the trailer for the Kills, and you could tell by the trailer for Ends, too modern. Jen is dumb. For anybody who hasn't or doesn't plan to watch these movies, you should still check them out, man. At least just watch them. Watch them once. You watch them just to bag on them, but watch them. Don't not watch them. That's right. Dead Kennedys were playing when Corey lets loose. And I don't know much about Dead Kennedys, and that is the Halloween song by the Dead Kennedys. Although I could have sworn I had heard Jello Biafra singing. I guess that's what it was. So we got a Dead Kennedys song and we got a Cramp song in the new Halloween. It's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, man. Jody says, in conclusion, my boy Mikey got old and scarred on us. R.I.P. to him and my expectations to leading in. But if you almost sound like Glenn Danzig reviewing that movie in Flipside magazine. In conclusion, my boy Mikey got old and scared on us and scarred on us. R.I.P. to him and my expectations leading in. Tom Palmer says, yeah, Blumhouse are rebooting The Exorcist next with David Gordon Green directing and writing. It's due to be released next year. I'm all for it. I'm down. I'll watch it. Like, I only saw The Exorcist in its full, in full, I think in 2018. Now, I had seen a little bit here and there on TV. The Exorcist, the idea of The Exorcist never scared me. Maybe they'll make it scarier for me. I don't know. Riot says, I like what he did too, but Rob Zombie made it that his family parents were trash. The original made it seem like his home life was normal. Yes. And his parents seemed white collar. Yes. And I think that makes Michael Myers far more scary than if his parents were quote unquote trash the way they are presented in the Rob Zombie film. I could see how he feels like Rob Zombie felt like that was like a natural sort of like way to go. Yes, it was like Return of the Living Dead soundtrack vibe. Sure. Sharpie is asking if I'm smoking a clove. No, you know what this is? This is a paper straw that I have cut to look like a cigarette. So I used to be a heavy smoker. I was a pack a day smoker for many, many, many years. I quit when I was 22 years old in 2008. I have not had a cigarette since February of 2008. However, when I was making Gouge Away, which is the new feature-length film that I wrote, produced, and directed, which will be available to all of you soon at some point. But if you are a Patreon member or a YouTube member, you can watch Gouge Away right this second. When I was making Gouge Away, when I was in deep post-production, I started doing this thing that I don't really do anymore, where I have to hold a cigarette object in my hands. It helps me deal with anxiety, and I just like holding it and rolling in my fingers. Sometimes I go like this. Why? I don't know. It's just something I like, feeling it in my hand. It's like a security blanket, maybe. That was a big over explanation of what it is. But point is, I still don't smoke. This is not a cigarette. It's just a neurotic tick that I have that I feel like I need to do sometimes. And it's right next to my desk. So now it's natural for me to just pick it up. And I just really over explained the shit out of that. I don't know why I had to explain that at all. But yes, it's not a clove. To answer your question, it's not a clove. I just don't want people to think I'm smoking. I don't know why. I just don't want people to think I'm smoking. Supernatural Michael is lame compared to the mysterious OG Michael, says Jody. Yeah, sure. When he's just the shape. John says, hey, Frumess, I've been a Roll Told fan, Return of the Living Dead fan, since the age of 5, when I watched a VHS copy my parents recorded off of HBO back in 1993. If you ever need an extra voice or face to discuss anything Roll Told or horror, thank you, John. I appreciate that. Duly noted. You know what we've done in the past, and it's been a while since I've done it. Maybe we'll do it soon. We haven't done a call-in show in a very long time. So maybe we'll do a call-in show. Although with all the, weirdos and stalkery people, maybe, I don't know, maybe we won't. We'll see. What I do is I throw the link out into the audience and I put it on a timer for 5 minutes, and you come on, you say a couple of things, we talk for a few minutes, and then on to the next person. Hopefully, sometimes it's fun, people get shy and they don't want to come on, but it's fun when you get to see the faces that you see in the chat all the time and contributing and whatnot. So maybe we'll do a call-in show real soon. Derpy says, yeah, man, I'll let you know. I will definitely let you know. Derpy says, I'll watch the films eventually. I just don't think those movies deserve money, and you have a whole generation that's dumb enough to buy a ticket. Actually, you don't have a whole generation that's dumb enough to buy a ticket. Everybody wants to just stream it. You know what I mean? It's hard to get people to come out to the theater nowadays. I do hope you'll watch it. Rue says, I already watched Gouge Away, but weren't you going to do a show about it? Did I miss it? No, I have not done a show about it. I will do a show about it. I'm waiting on a couple of things right now. I want to get it into a couple more festivals. I'm sort of trying to consolidate resources, and I'm also, looking into some distribution stuff. So I've kind of put Gouge Away at Rue. As you know, I'm always doing so many things. I go from focusing on the documentary to focusing on Gouge Away to focusing on the channel. I'm always juggling 1,000 things at once. So Gouge Away has gone on the back burner for now. I will be doing a commentary on Gouge Away that will be just for Patreons and just for YouTube members. And we'll also be doing a show to raise awareness about Gouge Away. Don't you worry, you have not missed it. Additionally, a lost film from 2008, Sangria's Struggle, is now on the channel. Check it out. It's a short that I made in college. It's a trilogy. There's 3 of them. The Sangria Saga. It's really graphic, gross toilet humor. If that's your bag, you will love Sangria's Struggle. Like sangria, like the drink sangria, Sangria's Struggle. Check it out on my channel now. A lot of fun. John says, I'd be down for sure. I've been trying to get my 9-year-old son to horror lately. I took him to see the new Halloween Friday. That's awesome. Tom says, the Corey plot would have worked better if the character had been introduced in one of the previous 2 films. I don't know if you joined us when I said this, Tom. I kind of said something similar. I thought the Corey plot was fine and effective, and I was totally fine with them introducing him. However, what I said was, I think you should combine Halloween, the trilogy, into 2 films. It should have been Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. Just should have been 2 films. Maybe it just could have been Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, right? Just make it 2 films and introduce Corey in the first film and have him become Michael Myers' character in the second film. Would have been great. Would have been great. Tom says, feels like they were just making the story up as they went along. Jody says, Smile was the real MVP of the spooky season so far. It was. I agree. And check out, if you have Shudder, check out Speak No Evil. It's really grim, really dark, really grim. You have to see it, though, if you like good horror. It is, oof. If you like funny games, if you enjoyed funny games, well, I don't know how you could enjoy funny games, but if you've seen funny games and like stuff of that ilk, you would really like that, I think. Minister says, Corey running into the kid's mom at the rock bar was so lame. Minister is just not having any of it. He's just not about it. He's like, nope, it didn't work. Tom says, yeah, sorry, I missed it. Only joined later in the stream. Yeah, it happens, man. I repeat myself. I end up repeating myself, man. It just is what it is. Aaron, you came so late, dude. We're wrapping up here, man. I'm sorry, Aaron. Aaron, if you have any comments you want to leave about Halloween before we wrap up here, please feel free. We're on our way out. We're in our final descent. You know, if we were in on an airplane right now, I guess. I'm falling behind. I basically was out for 48 hours from really 72 hours from Wednesday to Friday. I didn't watch any horror movies, basically. So I am like 3 movies behind in 31 days of Halloween, and I have to do reviews for everything. So I'm only on movie 13, and it's October 16th. So I have a lot of catching up to do, which doesn't feel good, by the way. And I think I've decided that next year, to make things easier, I'm still going to do reviews, but I think I'm going to turn it into 4 shows. 1 show per week that details an overview of everything that was watched for that week. I think it will make it easier, and because it started to feel like a chore. And when this stuff starts to feel like a chore, it like really bothers me. It gets under my skin. It doesn't feel good. You know what I mean? Jody is asking, have I watched any Fear Fest on AMC? I have not. I haven't even checked it out. What's on there? I've been really knee deep in Shudder and going to the Alamo Drafthouse. I just started watching a horror anthology on Amazon Prime. It's called A Comedy of Horrors. Check it out. I'm like halfway through it. It's really freaking good. I'm a huge sucker for anthologies, as some of you know. I'm enjoying the hell out of this one. I also watched the Hellraiser on Hulu. That was good. Aaron says that he's been watching the classics, Mummy, Dracula, Frankie, because they're all on Tubi TV. That's awesome, Aaron. Everybody go check that out if you want to watch the OG Universal Monster Originals. And if you want to see the basis for all Universal horror movies, the idea of monster and beauty, right? The monster that is more human than the humans who are monsters, who love a beautiful woman that they can never be with. Go check out Beauty and the Beast, aka Le Belle et le Bête from 1947. Although the story of Beauty and the Beast is from the 1700s. So really it predates all of the Universal monsters. I guess maybe except for the Mummy, although all of that could be argued semantically. I have the WNUF sequel I have to watch on Blu-ray. I think I'm going to do Street Trash. I have to do The Blob. There's a lot to do, and there's just not a lot of time. So I will do my best to get to it all. Not going to let another year pass without cracking some of those open. I'm jealous of Brian, who says that he is ahead on 31 days because of Psycho Cinema. Yes, Creature for the Black Lagoon was kind of sad, Aaron. There's a great, that meme where it's just the creature and he's just like knocking things down and saying like, fuck this lamp, fuck these stairs. He's like breaking stuff. It's actually really funny. Pretty hilarious. And we are at exactly 90 minutes. And I think that's the perfect time to end this stream. I want to thank all 16 of you who are still watching, and hope you had fun with that. I had fun talking about this. Like I said, interesting, nice to see something fresh. Lots of missed opportunity with Corey, just throwing him away. Yes, Last Man on Earth, so good. Yes, thank you, Rue. Rue is been such a great supporter and whatnot. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the Patreon, all of it. Jeff, what's the 2 horror movies you enjoyed the most? Smile exceeded all of my expectations. And I honestly, Halloween Ends, I've really enjoyed it. And Hellraiser, I really like the new Hellraiser film. Check out my review for that. Oh, and Deadstream on Shudder. Wow, I'm not a big fan of found footage. This is like House meets Evil Dead 2 with found footage. And you know what it's about? It's about a YouTuber. And that really, that really connected with me being a YouTuber. I was like really enjoying all like sort of like the in jokes about you being a YouTuber and whatnot. I thought that was pretty funny. So, check out the t-shirts, guys. We got a lot of t-shirts, although some of them, the prices on the ones below are overpriced. I need to adjust those and fix those and make the margins as low as possible. Check out the t-shirt stores down below in the description. Check out the Patreon, become a YouTube member, buy a coffee. Thank you to Sharpie, Riot, and riotstickers.com once again for the love tonight and the support and whatnot. Thank you to all you guys for contributing. Remember, you can only get that Riot Stickers special promotional deal, 1,000 stickers for $79. That's 7 cents per sticker. You can only get that here on the channel from that link, riotstickers.com/Frumess. It's the only way you're going to get it. So check it out. Yes, absolutely. I'll be safe and I will cough cool. Thank you. Peace and hair grease to all. I'm going to play us out with the thing that we're all sick of, including myself. I should make a new one that's more interesting. I think I will. Hold on. I got to get rid of this comment thing. Why is that still doing that? Yes. Peace and hair grease for sure. Oh, come on. Why is it doing this now? Dude, do it. Oh, Otis. I've seen Otis. The guy, heavyset guy with the glasses. Yeah, man. Oh man. I don't remember liking Otis too much, to be honest with you. I don't know. In any case, friggin' Patreon. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jeff. So I've decided to make a Patreon. What is Patreon? I don't know how to define a Patreon. Let me look it up. Patreon is a membership platform that makes it very easy for creators to get paid for the things that they're already creating. I want to do it full time. I want this to be my full-time job. In my efforts to make that happen, I've set up this platform. Is it going to work? Is it going to be successful? I don't know, but I would rather try and crash and burn than not try at all. The goal is to create enough passive revenue so that I can continue to do this full-time, uninterrupted. Why? Because I love to do this. I love creating content. I love making videos. I love shooting films. I love doing podcasts. In case you couldn't tell, I love to talk and I never shut the fuck up. So right now I've kept the Patreon incredibly simple. There's 2 tiers, and that may change in the future. The Murdergram is a simple way to extend support for all of the hours and hours of free content on the channel for nothing more than $1. 38 cents goes to Patreon. What's $1.38, eh? It's less than a cup of coffee, but it's a great way that you can show support for very little effort. When you divide that $1.38 by the hours and hours and hours of time spent listening to this endless drivel of content, the dollar cost average works out. Next up is the YouTube casualty for $6.66. The YouTube casualty is loaded to the gills. Enjoy the archive ad-free, as well as ad-free early access to special docu-style podcast videos, music reaction commentaries, and the like, a month before they drop on YouTube, loaded with ads, I might add. You're also going to get exclusive content and behind-the-scenes content that is not available on YouTube or anywhere else. So you get to peek behind the veil. And believe me, there's a couple of choice pieces. Most of all, more than anything, whether you join the Patreon or not, I just want to thank each and every one of you that comes to the channel, that watches all the shows, that leaves comments, that participates, that subscribes. That's really the most important thing. This is just trying to find a way to earn a living as an artist. And with that, thank you for my TED Talk. Join the Patreon, because we need you!
66 cents.